So hi, everybody. My name is Doug White. I am the chair of the Cybersecurity and Networking Department at Roger Williams University. Probably you have either seen me or Russ Boschman before if you are already accepted students. So you probably came to something or other and have talked with us. Basically, I usually put up a picture of Breckenridge, and right now it seems even more appropriate than ever since we're not supposed to go outdoors. And I did not go to Breckenridge. So this picture is old, so I'm cheating. I did not get to go to Breckenridge this year because they closed down before I could go. And we had to cancel all that, which was good because we canceled it right on the front end. It was like the week before all the chaos, and my friend was saying there were all these chaos in the airports, and I was like, okay, we're out. And so the airline said you can get your money back for the ticket. I was like, okay, I'm out. So our spring break did not happen in that regard, which was good because we weren't those people you saw in the pictures of the airport. But anyway, I put my contact information on that screen. So if you don't have it already, that's my email address. You can see right there. That's my office phone, which pretty much rings anywhere. And if you want to text me, that's my cell phone. That 646 number rings all my phones. So if you ever want to reach me, that's a good number to call because it basically rings like a whole bunch of different places and drives some people crazy, especially now there's other people at home. But that's cool. Feel free to call. I have that number turned off at the house because I have a separate office building behind my house where I do all these videos from. I know I'm saying videos and I don't actually have video, but okay. I don't know what you want to know about. You obviously applied to Roger Williams Cyber and so you have some idea what's going on there. I'll give you a brief update. For next year, we did change the catalog just a little bit. We took, this was based on, and if you have a question, just jump in and ask. It won't bother me a bit. Basically what happens with the program is that we have a lot of industry people that I'm connected with. Cybersecurity is still a kind of small industry. There's Evan just joined. It's still a kind of small world, and a lot of people know each other still. I mean, if you went into like the programming applications world of computer science, there's millions of people around the world who do that. Cyber is still this kind of like, ooh, it's like, I know that guy and I met that guy and oh, he was in my class. And that makes it kind of a really unique place to be. And a lot of those people are always talking to me about things. And one of the questions I got from an industry person who had interviewed some of our students in the last couple of years was, why don't you have more Python in your curriculum? And I said, well, because the curriculum is finite. And while I would love to make the curriculum 200 credits, you probably wouldn't like that very much. And a lot of people who are paying the bills wouldn't like that very much. So basically, when we add things, we have to take things away. And so we decided to get rid of a law class that was in the curriculum that had really been put in a long time ago. I had the board people, these are industry people, look at the curriculum and say, what should go? And so the law class was one they said, well, this was put in for forensics years ago. Maybe it's not as important now. You know, everything's important, but we have to make compromise. And so what we did for next year was we added 2 Python courses to the curriculum because so many people in the industry are now using Python as a scripting tool. And I love Python, and everybody loves Python. And of course, this person asked me this question right around the time I had gotten obsessed with Python. I had agreed to teach a class in Python this spring, just as an elective. So some of the people that, like Evan is in that class, some of the people who were like programming people were like, oh, cool, Doug's gonna do a programming class. They regretted it immediately thereafter because I got obsessed with giving out weird programming problems. And then I got obsessed with lambdas. I know you haven't taken computer science, but lambdas are ways to build functions that exist out in the world. So Amazon put up a Lambda site recently, and now you can write a Lambda function and put it on Amazon and reference it locally, which is like, wow, really, really cool. So I got really hung up on that this semester, and that's what I've been doing lots of. So we added that stuff to it. The curriculum, as you probably know, since you applied to it, is focused on networking and security, because those are, to me, two critical areas of cyber that are weak. If you go out and I'm not going to talk about other institutions, but you should look at other institutions that you're considering and look at where the curriculum sits, because here you're getting a degree in cybersecurity. I mean, an actual degree in cybersecurity. So the whole program is cybersecurity networking. A lot of places you look at, you're going to be getting a computer science degree that has a track in cybersecurity or whatever. So that's something that, I mean, and that may be what you want, which is cool, but you should really try to take a look at all those things. So we're focused on that. I want you to get a job. I want you to get the job you want. And that's why I focused it on networking and programming as the basis for it. And then the cybersecurity stuff sits on top of that. And that makes it, to me, very competitive program for you to get employed. The good news about currently is that they're still hiring. So a couple of areas that even with all the chaos going on, and I know it's all disastrous and everything, and I have lots of friends in New York City that are like, you know, scared and worried and trapped in their one-room apartments, and some of them are medical professionals, and you know, all that bad stuff is going on. But I always told people that when they turn out the lights at the company, the accountants are the people that turn out the light. My wife's a CPA. They turn out the lights. But the cybersecurity people are the people that make sure that the light switches still work. So cyber is so critical right now in the world because companies and hospitals are being targeted. I've been wondering if the state of Rhode Island is going to call any of us and activate us to go do support, because I set that up years ago with the state of Rhode Island emergency management, that there was support for the National Guard and support for the state. And I know the state is building out multiple portable hospitals now. I'm not sure where, but they're putting up like tents and things. And I keep wondering if they're going to call and start trying to activate technology professionals to come support that. There have been multiple attacks in the last couple of weeks on hospitals by hacking and nation state entities. And there's just an endless supply of course, phishing and scam type attacks targeting, you know, individuals and companies. So cyber is a really critical area. They're still hiring. I know Evan is looking for a job and interviewing with people, and several other people had already taken jobs before all this sort of came down. So at the moment, I think the curriculum is very well suited to the world. We try to change it as the world changes, and all of you know that cyber is something that changes pretty constantly. Networking and programming don't change very much, but cyber does, and it changes literally just so quickly that I know I was talking about people I know. I remember when Rapid7, which is one of the largest companies in cybersecurity right now, when the guys from Rapid7, there were just 3 of them. I don't know why it was called Rapid7. I never asked them that, but I remember like at DEF CON hanging out with them, and, you know, like by the pool. And now, you know, Rapid7 is this multi-billion-dollar company that's worldwide. And when you see those guys now, they're like CEOs and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, yes, we can't hang out by the pool. No, we could get our people to have a meeting with your people. So the industry grew from like literally just a bunch of people to now like this big worldwide trillions of dollars industry. And it's going to keep doing that. Probably for the foreseeable future. And that means it's a good place to be if it's something that you enjoy doing. The only other slides I'll throw back up, I do like the core concentrations at Roger Williams because I think they let you build your story. And one of the things, I don't need to look at the camera because my camera's not working. I keep looking at the camera. You can't see me, I'm sorry. But basically, I like the core concentrations because they give you the chance to build your story. and make yourself very competitive. Usually the things that people do, but you can do whatever you want in that core concentration, and they have lots of them. And I think the weirdest one anyone ever did, weird's probably not a good word to use, but the weirdest one anybody ever did was a guy did jazz trumpet or something like that. And I was like, what? But you know, that was what he wanted to do. A lot of people do computer science because with the computer science overlap in our program, you actually get 24 credits of computer science doing that, which is almost a major in computer science. I mean, it's not quite a major, but it's off in that direction, and that's a good story. Some people don't want to do that. A lot of people come to me and they say, you know, Doug, that's not really where I want to be. Programming is not my favorite thing. That's cool. And people have done psych. And when I first heard somebody came to me and talked about psych, I was like, what? That sounded weird to me because, you know, I being a computer science person, it was like an automatic, like, oh yay. But when I heard somebody say psych, I was like, what? But then I thought about it and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool, because somebody who's got half of a psych major and is a security professional, that's a pretty good story to tell. I mean, I immediately was like, well, that's not a bad thought. And so there's a lot of opportunities with core concentrations to build your story, because really getting a job is about two things. It's about fit. So it's, can you convince an employer that you're a good fit for what they want, that you can be the person they want in the job. And the other part besides fit is skills. And the more skills you can put in your backpack, the more likely you are to have jobs to choose from and have companies saying, I want you. And that is a very luxurious place to be, let me tell you. And I know that's sort of downstream for you because you're sitting here going from high school into the university, but it'll happen faster than you think. And before you blink, you're going to be looking at internships and looking at jobs and learning who the players are in wherever you want to be. So by being able to build your story, that makes you more appealing to companies. And when you're appealing, you have choices. And choices are both a curse and a blessing. Because when you have no choices, so when somebody comes to you and they say, here's the job you're going to get, and it's the only job available, and it's not what you want, it's still a job, and that's a luxury for a lot of people, but it sure is cool when you've got 31 to choose from. But that's also a curse, right? Because then you have to make a choice, and that can be very, very challenging too. So internships let you sort of feel that out and go out and say, I tried 3 different companies, because a lot of students do multiple internships over the course of their time at Roger Williams. And that's pretty nice. You know, you get a chance to say, oh, cool, I got to try a corporate, I tried a startup, and I tried a government thing. And a lot of times people realize, I don't like that, and I do like this. And it lets you focus down when you really want to go out and look for a job. And what else have I got? I've got, you know, this is places people have done internships, and there's actually a much longer list than this. I don't even know where all the internships are. We currently have students at FM Global. There's people down in Newport, that some of whom are working for government agencies, like in these top secret roles. We've got students who are doing internships at banks. We've got students doing internships at pretty much anything and everything, including Rhode Island State Police. So there's a lot of different opportunities for you, including SNADIA, which is it stands for the Southern New England Defense Initiative. They place people in government contracting roles because a lot of those defense contractors have had a challenge hiring people. Some people love that world. You know, I mean, some people think that's the coolest thing ever. I used to have a top secret clearance, and I worked for a secret lab in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. One of the cool things about that lab, it didn't used to be on the map. Like if you looked at a flight map of that area, there was just this big empty space where I worked was, which I always thought sort of drew attention to it, you know, but it was like you couldn't fly a plane over it. And Synadia helps to place people in those labs because sometimes they have a hard time hiring because top secret is a hassle. And it sounds all cool till you actually get it and realize that everything you do is monitored. And, oh, last night I went to a bar, I need to report that because I shouldn't have done it. I know I'm making it sound bad, but it was fine. But some people do like it. And we have several students who have taken on top secret roles and have those redacted resumes. And I was going to show you a redacted resume because I was like, isn't that cool? It's all blacked out. I was like, it's kind of an interesting strategy. But regardless, that's kind of the stuff people are doing. I am one of the 2 full-time faculty, and I want to tell you a little bit about that because we often get questions about this. So Russ Boscheman and I have had a long history doing other things. I have lots of letters after my name. Ooh. You'll find in the industry that lots of people have lots of letters after their names, but the real rubber meets the road moment is, can you do something? And I'm really hung up on that. When I went to school, I had professors who didn't know what they were doing, or their skill sets were so dated that, you know, it was like dusty old Dr. Cronin gets his PhD from 1972 out and starts talking about something that I'm going, wow, that hasn't existed in 20 years. And it wasn't that I knew more than the professor, because I didn't. It was that I felt like that class was really dated, and it really bugged me. And that stuck with me all my life. And I always felt like, even though I'm going to work at this university, I want to work in the field. Because if I don't know what's going on, I can't tell you what's going on. And I don't want to be teaching you a network skill that went out when, you know, you weren't even born yet. And that would be lame, and it wouldn't get you a job, because employers ask questions, and they should. So I work in the field. I work all the time for FM Global in their cyber lab. So I'm their lead consultant, or I don't know, senior research fellow or something. I don't know what my title is, but I'm the person who helps them decide what their lab is going to look like in the future and helps them with research projects. And I work with Evan, who is here today. Evan and I were meeting yesterday with a senior research fellow talking about a research paper Evan is working on for FM Global that he's putting together. And that's pretty fun. I also work for Security Weekly, and you can't see my Security Weekly shirt, which I'm wearing. I promise I'm wearing a Security Weekly shirt. I used to be the host of Hack Naked News, so we won't get into that. I was also the host of Secure Digital Life, and I put a link to those on another slide I'll show you in a minute. But basically, I do the news twice a week. So I'm currently the host of Security Weekly News, and I'm pretty much a regular. I won't call myself a replacement host. I'll call myself a utility host on the Pulse Security Weekly show on Thursday nights. So when they come up short with hosts, then I tune in. I love being involved in that. I go there, I feel like I'm the dumbest person in the room. And I think that's awesome, because I get to hear from amazing people all the time who never stop mentioning things that I say, wow, I need to learn that. I need to read about that. And I love that, because I don't want to be dusty old Dr. Cronin talking about something I learned in college in the 1980s to you. I want to be talking about things that happened yesterday. And that's why I like doing the news, because every week I put together 2 news shows that are the current security news, and I see stuff I don't know all the time. I go, wow, what is that? And I want to look it up and learn more about it. I usually have a table at DEF CON. I'm always there. So if you're going to DEF CON, so I have to tell you a story, and I know that admissions is going, oh, no, don't go too long. They worry about me a lot. So forever, and I don't know if you know this story, but forever at DEF CON, and DEF CON started, I think the first DEF CON was in 96 or 97. and it was a birthday party in New York City, and I wasn't there. But DT, Dark Tangent, who is the person who started DEF CON, was having a birthday party for some friends, and that was the first DEF CON. The first DEF CON I went to was in about 2001. It might have been in 2000, actually. But DEF CON had started being in Las Vegas, and there was about 400 people there. And even then, there was everybody from weird computer science professors to 13-year-olds who had hitchhiked to I literally met somebody at that DEF CON who was 13 years old who had hitchhiked to Las Vegas from New Jersey. I was like, yikes. And but hey, whatever. Hackers are resourceful. And there was a legend that started at one point in time. Someone posted to a bulletin board back then that DEF CON had been canceled. And this was a prank, a very kind of typical hacking prank. And of course, this caused this madhouse rush of people calling Dark Tangent, trying to find out, was DEF CON canceled? Because, hey, I'm in the process of hitchhiking from New Jersey to Las Vegas, and now you're telling me this is canceled? I'm in a truck stop in Nebraska. I might need to know this. And of course it wasn't. And so forever after, every year now, there's this sort of now, infamous tweet of DEF CON has been canceled. And of course it hasn't, but we don't know this year. So I'm always at DEF CON for the most part. Security Weekly has a table there. So if it's not canceled this summer and you're planning to go to DEF CON, we'll drop by our table and I'll give you some free stuff. Just tell me you're coming to Roger Williams and I'll give you a free shirt or something. And no, you can't meet Paul. Nobody gets to meet. I have to book time to meet Paul, so you can't talk to Paul, but you can talk to me, and you can give me the disappointed. And I can't do it because I don't have my video camera. I was going to do disappointed Paul face, which is what I call this, or resting Paul face is another word for it. But I usually call it disappointed Paul face, and I can't do it because you can't see me. But when I show up and people go, "Is Paul with you?" and I go, "No, it's just me," then you get disappointed Paul face, because that's who they really wanted. Paul's the celebrity host of Paul's Security Weekly. So I try to do all that. And then we have adjunct faculty. So the point of all this long story that I'm rambling around towards, we basically, we use a lot of adjunct faculty, and people always go, "Oh, that's terrible. I was told to ask, do you use adjunct faculty?" And I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm proud of it. The reason I use adjunct faculty is because I can teach. I have taught every course in our curriculum because I built them all. But I like to have somebody teach pen testing that does pen tests every day. And I taught pen testing, and I used to do pen testing, and I got tasered multiple times because I did physical pen testing. And if you've ever watched Paul's Security Weekly, like Tyler, who is a physical pen tester and climbs in windows and things, he's cooler than I am, and he has like the mohawk and everything. He has like a stylish mohawk though. But I want a pen tester to teach you pen testing, and I want an incident responder to teach incident response. And I can teach those things, and I know a lot about them, and I keep up with what's going on there. But I really like it when I built the forensics program at Roger Williams, and I used to do forensics all the time for police. And now I've got a guy who worked at Quantico for the FBI who teaches forensics. And when he called me and said he wanted to teach some classes, I was like, how do I compete with that? It's like I can't say, wow, Kevin, I know so much more than you FBI forensic investigators. So Kevin teaches forensics, and Vince. And Vince was an Army, or actually I got him backwards. Vince was at the FBI, Kevin was at the Army. And they're both professional forensic investigators who do forensics every day. That's their jobs. Brandon Catalan, who teaches incident response, he teaches pen testing. He's a pen tester. I mean, he worked for Raytheon. He doesn't work for Raytheon now, but he works for another company. And, at Raytheon, that's all he did was fight off Chinese hackers. So, that's why I like having those guys. I'll mention the Cyber Club. I wanted to leave time for questions. Nobody's asked a question yet, so I want to be sure you have a chance to ask me. But if you want to check out the news show, there's a link. Just go to securityweekly.com. You can see. Then you can see me. You know, and I'm going to tell you, I am going to do some more. So admissions will let you know that I'm doing some other just hangouts if you want to just log in and talk. And I'll promise I'll have my camera on then. So you can see I'm real, I'm not a bot. And I did write a bot earlier this year. I wrote a bot and I finally got it to swear at me. And I was so happy. I was like yelling. I was like, yay, it finally called me a name. And I was like, I've been trying to get it to do that for like a week and it finally let me have it. So check out securityweekly.com. Admission's probably going to let you, I've got any other slides, here's my contact. Admission's going to probably let you know other times. And mostly if you want to chat, since we're all isolated, just hit me up. Either call me or email me and say, hey, Doug, could we talk? I have some questions and I will, I literally, this is not a huge change for me to sit here in front of the camera. This is what I do all the time. Every day, every week. I've been doing this for years. You'd think I hadn't because my camera didn't work, but you know, we do occasionally have technical difficulties. But just hit me up if you want to talk and you say, I'd feel more comfortable talking to you without other people listening in or whatever. I do these. I had a student this morning who wanted to talk about something about her schedule. That I was doing that just before I came on here, and my camera was working then, and she and I were able to chat about her schedule from where, I don't know where she was located, but she's at home, and you know, we were able to talk. And I do that with students all the time, just regularly. So so I will make sure that we can, and in fact, I see that Casey is throwing stuff up. And there is a question from Bryce that says, will we learn about DDoS mitigation? Yes, I mean, that is a common topic in a lot of different kinds of classes. You'll probably learn about both sides of that equation. Certainly, we have had people want to learn about denial of service type problems in both the proactive and how do you react to that. Denial of service is not, there's so many different aspects to that. Oh, that's a good question. There's so many aspects to that today, I think, in terms of how denial of service works, from the old-fashioned denial of services like ping of death and things like that, to the smurfing attacks, to the zombie attacks, to today we see the sort of botnet driven, can I teach my bot? In fact, it's a good thing I should work on with my bot. Can I teach my bot to generate traffic, to learn that maybe that's a bad thing or a good thing to do? So absolutely, mitigation of there's certainly not like a lot of focus on denial of service mitigation because Cisco is so capable of fending that stuff off today. But talking about how a botnet attack that was attempting to shut you down is certainly one angle of that. And then also adding to that would be talking about things like, what is a denial of service really? Could it be a socially engineered attack? I certainly have seen social engineering type attacks where somebody sent out phishing spams trying to get you to inquire. So I'll give you one. Don't do it. I mean, if I sent out an email to every student at Roger Williams and said, please contact the president immediately regarding your continued education at Roger Williams, here's his address. And all those people slammed the president with emails because you might, that's a type of socially engineered denial of service that is difficult to mitigate. And you see those kind of attacks against companies all the time. And of course, then all the way downstream into how could you write a bot that might attack using Python? So if all of us in this meeting today said, okay, here's the challenge, we're all going to write a Python bot right now, go, you know, we could probably build a botnet attack. Could we generate enough traffic to actually cause someone to notice? That's probably the big denial of service and distributed denial of service challenge today. But yeah, you can do that, and yeah, we'll learn about it. Long answer to your very short question, but that's a good question. That's fun stuff. So other questions that you have? Casey did put his contact information up. He is very nice guy to talk to. even if he represents some Army stuff, I mean, you know, it's like, we're a Navy state. I'm sorry, like, Casey, geez. But, you know, Casey is an ROTC guy. He's very smart. Hi, Casey. He's waving at you now. He does he got an Army? You need an Army flag there, Casey. Come on. Oh, he's got it. I'm sorry. He's got it there. He's a great Army guy, a very, very good student. Will we be using Kali Linux as our main distro? My answer to that question is no. We use all sorts of things. Kali Linux is certainly something that people use in classes. People often in my, I don't really require any particular thing in my Python class or networking class. A lot of people are running Packet Tracer on Windows or Macs in networking. Kali Linux is certainly covered in incident response and in pen testing. The virtual machine environment that we have, so we have 2 VMware servers. You can set up whatever distros you want on there. So students have access to that through a VPN. You can build out, if you want to build out, you know, Kali, you want to build out Mint, you want to build out Peppermint, whatever you want to build out, or something else entirely, you can. But I would not say there is a main distro for the program. It's everything and anything. More questions? I'm drinking coffee. I have learned during the chaos that if you take, usually I put 3 shots of espresso in my coffee cup and then put some hot water in it. But I found out that if you put 5 shots of espresso in the same amount of hot water, it gets even better. And then, so I had this like family thing back in the fall that involved a hospital. It wasn't me, but it was in a hospital. And this nurse saw me putting shots of espresso in my cup. And she said, let me show you how nurses do it. And I learned to make really good coffee. So you put 4 shots of espresso and then fill the cup up with regular coffee. And yeah, and Evan knows what I'm talking about. It's called the Nurse Special. And it will definitely give you a new outlook on life.
Can we perhaps have both of the current students from Roger Williams just share a little bit about maybe why they picked Roger Williams and, you know, what they really enjoy the most about the school? And then we do have one other question that just came in right now.
Yeah, let me answer that question and I'll let us will we learn about malware works or any reverse engineering? Absolutely, there is coverage of that content. The deep dive on reverse engineering, in terms of can you deconstruct a piece of software? Probably not, simply because that is a very, very specialized skill. Now, could you learn that? Yes, you could. So you could certainly do that. We have enough flexibility that if that's something you're really focused on in reverse engineering, I would tell you, do the computer science core concentration so you got enough programming skills to start dealing with that. Take the obfuscation stuff that you know from these other areas and put that into the context of Python or C and propose it as an independent study to me. And you bet. But I'm gonna, so Casey said for Evan to go first. So Evan, you're on.
There we go. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I can now.
Cool. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Evan Prosperowski. I'm graduating class of 2020, and my major is cybersecurity with a minor in computer science and sustainability studies. So kind of like what Doug was talking about earlier about the whole making your, experience sustainability was my cup of tea. So to answer the question brought up earlier by Tanya about what made me really think about RWU as my choice, like most high school graduates, I didn't really have that dead set on I exactly know what I want to do. And funny enough, the story goes that I was just applying to colleges, and a good friend of mine who sits next to me in one of my classes, she actually said, oh, I just went and I did a tour of RWU. They have a cool program for computers and such, she phrased it as. So I looked into it, and it was one of the only programs that I really found about that was in the area. And I lo and behold, went on the tour, signed up for everything. I actually got to talk to Doug many, many moons ago. I doubt that he remembers, but I remember it because it had a lasting effect for me. And up until today, I actually get to work with Doug, like he mentioned earlier. We're currently writing a paper together at FM Global for the world of IoT, which is pretty cool. So I definitely think it was no one's paying me to say this either. I think it was the best choice that I could have made.
We're not paying him though.
No, it would be nice, but it's definitely the greatest choice that I could have made. Looking back at all the experiences I've had and the classes, it's very flexible, and you can pick and choose what you want to take in regards to things that complement your skill set. Like Doug mentioned, the computer science program it's more or less the same basic track to start out with. I'm doing a whole lot of mannerisms down here that you can't see, but it's okay. So I took a lot of the same classes that overlapped in the beginning. For instance, all the different programming challenges, or all the different programming classes, as well as networking and hardware that overlapped in the beginning. And by that time, you're already looking at it and thinking, I already have enough to finish my core concentration. Why not just keep going? So that would happen to be my track, but it's all power to you to choose what you like.
Where are you from, Evan?
I'm from Central Mass.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. And like I mentioned in the chat, if any questions, concerns, reach out. Sorry, Casey.
Hey, Evan, nice to see you. I'm a current sophomore at Roger Williams. I ended up deciding on cybersecurity more when I toured Roger Williams the fall of my senior year of high school. I didn't know if I'd be able to make it here, but once the cards played in my favor, I got to decide on Roger Williams as a school, mostly because Doug was talking about it, where Roger Williams has a cybersecurity major rather than a computer science major with a cybersecurity track. It was really appealing to be able to have an entire curriculum based around the kinds of skills I wanted to learn. And once I decided that I wanted to come here, it was kind of simple to pick up a computer science minor with the way that our curriculum works out. I found that with that core concentration that they have us doing, where you take classes outside of your discipline, computer science actually got picked up as a minor, which was really nice. And then I picked up military science as a minor because of the classes that I take in the back anyway. It's a major double minor, and I've had a great time. Same as Evan was saying, it's going to be very repetitive, but the professors that we have are very knowledgeable in what they do. Talking to professors who do pen tests in my pen testing class is an opportunity I did not think I would be afforded when I decided on Roger Williams, and it's been one of the best benefits that I've found going through here.
Where are you from, Casey?
I'm from Ashland, Mass, kind of Central Mass too.
Yep, very familiar with that area. I actually recruit in that area, so I get to travel down there. Now, are you involved with any other clubs and organizations outside or sports? I think I see Evan that has like a athletics hoodie, I believe. But if you can just tell us what are some of the other things that you're involved with?
Sure, I can start that one off and pass it off to Casey after. The one thing I highly suggest is probably what you're going to hear a lot if you choose RWU is attend the engagement, or was it
Involvement fair?
Involvement fair, that's what it is. Where all the clubs and organizations are there, advertising. Here's what we do, all the best things that might fit your interests on campus. For me personally, I'm a part of, well, at least was a part of quite a few clubs, including Ultimate Frisbee, as the sweatshirt says. So that was one of my favorites, especially during my freshman sophomore year, as well as the Cybersecurity and Intel Club, which is more related to this presentation. It's definitely grown in the past couple of years. It's only two years old now, and it's definitely interesting because we get to have speakers come in, companies, and they get to talk about their products or different types of job opportunities. For instance, what was the company's name? I unfortunately couldn't attend. I had work that day, but it was, Casey, what was the name?
SecureWorks?
It was SecureWorks. Yes. Dell's SecureWorks team. They came in for, to really talk to the students about what their company's about, different opportunities they may have for internships, as well as jobs coming out of college. So that's definitely a benefit for that club primarily.
Yeah, the SecureWorks was really cool because they wanted to gear it towards seniors, but we had a couple underclassmen sit in as well, and it ended up being a small enough audience that it was like a really intimate discussion between the employees from SecureWorks and us. And they got to talk a lot about forensics and the intricacies of what they do. They have a forensics response team. And I have like friends in the cyber program who want to go on to do forensics. So even though they weren't able to make it to the presentation, I still tried to put them in contact with them. I'm also on campus. I'm part of ROTC, which is the closest thing to a sport I'll ever get. I do ultimate frisbee if I had the time. It looks like a bunch of fun. They get to go down to North Carolina and have some fun during spring break. Then I'm also part of the Cybersec and Intel Club. I got into a couple cool things this year because of them, because of the kids who were running the club at the time. And we also had NEC CDC. This year we tried starting up a new cyber competition club. It's do you remember what it stands for? Because I can't.
Northeastern Central Division of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, NEC CDC. It was a cyber competition between a bunch of Northeast states. And we only made it to the qualifier, but it was still a very fun experience on a Saturday morning, nonetheless, 4 hours on a Saturday, where we prepared for it for like a month or two. And then we ended up trying to apply those skills during a 4-hour crash session where we were all in the same room trying to work together. It was really cool stuff.
Yeah, it actually stands for the Northeast Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you for sharing.
Those things are actually fun. I know that I've been trying to get Josh Marpet and Scott Lyons, who own Redline Software, to bring their Capture the Flag platform to Roger Williams. They do all the Capture the Flag exercises at DEF CON and pretty much every con on earth that has a Capture the Flag. They've been running it. So those are fun things. They take time to develop in terms of teams and things, because you have to kind of learn how that works and so forth. So that was something we just recently got involved in. So we're trying to support that stuff more with funding and whatever. We did send a couple students last year went to DEF CON. We're still working on this year because, like I said, we don't know about DEF CON right now. So.
Anyone else have any other questions? I know we have some other folks that joined us a little bit into the presentation. Any questions as far as like maybe the admission process or what's next, or about the programs, or how can you do a double major or anything like that? I think we have no other questions. Sounds like, but thank you so much to Evan, Casey, Doug, for providing a lot of great information. Their contact info is on the chat box. So if if there's anything that you think about later on, definitely take advantage, reach out to them. They are out in the field all the time doing internships and they know what's currently going on as far as like being a student on campus. I also, at the top, I put my email address too. So for those of you that joined a little bit later, I'm one of the assistant directors at Roger Williams. So I read applications, work with students from different areas in the country. So perhaps I might be your admission counselor for your area. I don't know where all of you are from, but certainly even if I'm not from your specific admission counselor, I'm happy to help out. I do a presentation every day about just general Roger Williams information at 2 o'clock via Zoom. So if you want to learn more about campus life or CPC projects or how to incorporate those into the classroom or anything else, please feel free to join any of them. We are also hosting a Q&A with current students today from 4 to 5. All of our information is on Instagram. We have been sending messages via email. We have also been trying to post as much as we can on the Facebook parent group page as well. So there are lots of ways for you to find out on how to get involved and take advantage of those. We also normally ideally you would have been on campus today doing the this presentation. We just uploaded a new campus tour where we had a current student just go out and take, kind of walk you through each of the buildings and different things. We're going to be posting a tour of all of the dorms coming up, hopefully by the end of next week, or we will keep you posted. You will receive an email with all of that information. So that way you're able to see more than just the traditional freshman dorm. So definitely lots of other things coming up. And we do have other sessions. So if there's any other majors that, you might be thinking for a minor or a concentration or dual program, we are hosting them every day. You can certainly go on our website to find more information about what those are. Anything else from any of our other students or from the, I don't know where that went. Doug, do you have anything else?
No, I mean, like I say, if you want to just reach out to me, please do. You can either email me or call me or text me or whatever. Or you could reach out through admissions, but I will be hopefully sending out some additional, I'm going to hang around and chat. I'll invite other students. I usually invite all the students that want to come to these to come. So if you just want to talk with someone, but if you want to talk one-on-one, I'm available pretty much all the time. I have no life. As you see Evan's laughing, Casey's laughing too, because they're sitting up there going, oh yeah, this is the guy that when I send questions, or I actually, Casey's been sending answers lately. So I asked Casey some questions and he's been focusing on answering some really weird stuff that I didn't know how to do. So, and I think if I had one final comment, I think that would be it. That cybersecurity is not about I'm smarter than you or I'm better than you. It's about we're all in this together, and none of us necessarily knows the answer to any given thing. Some of us have a long history and a lot of experience, which can certainly flavor our answers, but we're all working on this together. And that means that just because you're a freshman or a sophomore at the university doesn't mean you don't know anything. And that means that you can challenge yourself to answer questions and find new things and hopefully invent some really new product that's going to make billions of dollars so you can donate me a building or something to be housed in. But I mean, all of us are working on this every day. And I think Evan could probably tell you about that if it wasn't all secret from the cyber lab, in terms of, Evan's working there and he's not getting told, oh, you're going to go get Doug's coffee for him and comb his hair. Evan has built a whole bunch of cool stuff at the cyber lab that he has built even cooler stuff down in our lab on campus. And I don't know how some of that stuff works. And he's going to be telling me how that works. And that is what's cool about it, because we're all kind of working on that together. So, and I think that that's the level where you need to get involved and start doing things, because that's what this field is like. You'll see it. If you go watch Pulse Security Weekly, you're seeing hackers sitting around talking about hacking. That doesn't mean they know everything either. It's just them talking about the one little thing that they're interested in that week. And like this week, I've been interested in Lambda. Next week, maybe it'll be something else. And I think that's cool. That's why I like it so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining us, and congratulations to all of you who joined us, for being accepted. Hopefully, we will see some of you as soon as we're able to come back to campus for any in-person events, or hopefully we'll be able to see you in the fall. We'll stick around for a few more minutes. We have until noon, and feel free to stick around and ask any questions. But thank you so much for joining, and we will continue to stay in touch with you. Hope you're all staying safe.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I hope that as you make your decisions for school, which is a big decision in your life, if you have questions, you'll just reach out and let us answer those questions for you. And I hope you make the best choice for you. You have to look at the program, whatever the program is, and decide if that's sort of the place you want to be. And that's a tough one. You know, it's kind of like, oh, wow, I've got all this stuff to choose from. So again, that's a blessing and a curse when you have choices. It's great to have choices, but it's awful to have choices too, because it's like, you know, it's so much simpler when somebody just tells you what to do.
Thank you, Casey and Evan. Now, have you guys been inside this whole time?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I can talk a little bit more about what Doug was talking about in regards to the work that you can do on campus. So, for instance, I'm also a part of the honors program at RWU. And for one of our graduation requirements, we have to do a capstone project. So I chose to do my capstone project with my major and do it with Doug for the RWU SCC lab, which is where all the classes take place and professors can go in and make their own little setups to have as teaching aids. So we actually, myself and two others from the honors program and cybersecurity, we rebuilt the lab to what it needed to be and started putting in different machines left and right. We got to build our own infrastructure to help out. And I've actually been fortunate enough to, I'm looking on the other screen over here, but we can remote access into the lab to build something if we needed to. So I'm still currently working on my capstone, even though I'm at home. And as Doug mentioned earlier, I'll be explaining it to him. I currently have documents of things going right now.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't know you were in the honors program. So that's great to know because, you know, we always have students who have questions. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Any questions in regards to honors as well? All for it.
Yeah, Evan, there was 3 people with like our first ever honors students that came on board. It was Evan and Sam and Austin. And that was really exciting because we'd never really dealt with that before. So it was interesting. And they've done all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I get them to do all my work.
Now, Evan, have you lived in the living learning community for all 4 years, or did you do the first couple and then moved on with living with your other groups of friends?
In our freshman year, we lived in the LLC, the Living Learning Community in Stonewall 4. And that was probably one of the best experiences that I've had with the program, especially because you have this group of students that all have this same mutual interest of academic success that have put a higher standard because they're coming from that honors background, I guess. And that was really something that helped us out to really make friends and choose what we like to do at the university. I did not stay with the LLC after freshman year. I found a good group of friends and we actually moved from place to place in the years following. So that's kind of how that stemmed out. But in that group of friends, most of them were part of that original LLC. So you could say it carried on.
Right. Nice. And for those of you who are still with us, you know, if I know Evan mentioned the honors program, and that's a program that you have to apply into it from the admission process. Now, if let's say you didn't get into the program your first year, or if you're on the wait list, or perhaps you didn't know about the program, you are eligible to apply once you're a student, because we all oftentimes have students who may drop out or spaces may become available. So you can apply either for second semester freshman year or even your sophomore year. So that is something that's still available to you.
Yep. One of my good friends actually did that as well. She befriended a lot of us that were in the honors program, and to your justification, she didn't know that it was that prevalent. Right. So she went through the application process. She had good grades and the motivation for it. So then lo and behold, now she's one of us.
Awesome. Thank you, Evan.
We have fun, and you can have fun if you want to. We have a lab on campus where that's pretty much like the domain of students at this point. We do a lot of classes via already online models. I always try to address that a little bit. If nobody asked today, and I think everybody's online, so nobody's thinking about it as much, but I think, and Evan and Casey may want to comment on this a little too, but I had sort of pushed us in that direction years ago because I felt like I wanted students in cyber to start learning about this thing that everybody's had to learn about suddenly, because this is so much of the industry now. And so much of your meetings and your interactions, your boss may not be local. They may be based in the Singapore lab or something. And all your training now in the industry pretty much comes to this. So for years, I was a trainer for Intense School and for the ISFCE. I've trained police officers, and I trained, and I did that in Miami and Frankfurt were my two main campuses. And when I was doing that, I flew to Frankfurt, you flew to Frankfurt, or you rode the train to Frankfurt, and we sat there for a week in a hotel and did a class. And today that's just gone away. I mean, I know that at this very moment it's gone away by mandate, but even before all this craziness happened, all those kind of classes have switched to this very environment that you're doing right here. And I wanted students to learn how to deal with this, because this is where you're going. And it lets me get adjuncts from anywhere in the world. So if the best person, I think, to teach that class is based in Philadelphia, they can teach the class anyway. And I think being able to use tools like this to interact is such a critical skill for the modern age. I don't know, Evan and Casey, you have any comments about that?
Sure. I actually just had a discussion about this in one of my core senior seminar classes. It's titled The Internet and Technology Future, etc. And it's the only class that I actually had in person for my spring semester of senior year. To Doug's justification of online classes and how prevalent they are and how a lot of people are taking it as a new avenue and are adjusting, I've had a fairly significant amount of my classes taught online or through an online form. For instance, that could be anywhere from a once a week meeting for an hour if anybody has any questions, whether that be in person, online, or just a professor that would post material, ask questions if you need it. So it's a lot of self-learning as well. The transition for the current situation in the world right now was more or less seamless for me, because 3 out of the 4 of my classes were already taught online, and I was able to just get ahead. I'm actually more or less finished with 3 out of the 4 right now, because all the material was posted already. So I have time to, like in the beginning of the talk, I have time to interview for jobs more, do more job searches. That project that I mentioned through the honors capstone, I'm doing a lot of work with that as of late, and I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was.
And this is how learning happens now in this industry, because it will be a matter of you starting to piece together all your tools and where do you get information from? Because what you learn in school, I hate to tell you this, it's all going to go away. You know, it's, you know, by the time you graduate, that thing will have moved on. And somebody was asked about Kali Linux. Well, there'll be a different version of Kali Linux. There'll be a different version of Metasploit. So you have to kind of constantly find a way to just, I mean, most of us have started doing this. You know, it's whether it's, you know, you want to learn how Lambda works on Amazon. Well, you know, you jump on YouTube, you collect information, and you start putting that together. So all of this to me is just sort of how we move forward. I don't know, Casey, do you have a thought about that?
I was just going to say, last semester was my fall semester sophomore year was really where I started learning like the different kinds of classes you can have, because I had a couple in person. One second. Sorry, one of the classes I had was in person with like actual meetings that I'd walk into twice a week. And then I had 2 classes that were online wholly, where I would just meet. We wouldn't even meet. They would just like put stuff up like everyone's talking about some of his classes. And then I had some classes that were hybrid, which was very new to me. And Doug's class was one of the 2 hybrid classes. And I was shocked, because the way the class worked was really once a week, we would come in Monday nights and we would sit down for about 45 minutes. We would ask him any questions we had. But if no one had any questions, that 3-hour time block that was on the schedule turned into a half-hour meeting, and then we'd all leave, or 45 minutes, and then we'd leave. because everything was pretty much online anyway, and you could also reach out to him online. So unless you had something that had to be talked about in person, there was nothing else that you really needed to do.
And I like that because I personally think that that is a transition to a different efficiency. Casey told me something that I thought was quite interesting earlier in the year that I've shared with so many people since then. In fact, all my daughter's friends say, thank you, Casey. Casey was telling me that he often listened to my lectures online on double speed. And I thought, initially I was like, what? And then I was like, that's exactly what I was shooting for. Not everybody needs to listen to every word I say. And my voice actually sounds super crazy cool if you play it on 2 times. No, I'm kidding. But the point is that you don't always need to drag through everything real time, just like you do in real life. I mean, the other day I was watching somebody's video about lambdas. And I was like, okay, now he's telling me this. Now he's telling me about the weather. Oh, I don't care about that. Click, 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 click. And you've probably done this too, whether it was learning how to play a video game or learning how to do a piece of programming code or whatever it was you're trying to do. And you skip a lot of stuff. And I think that, to me, that's a new efficiency that we all need to learn how to do better, because of that way we can move through what we need to know quickly. The other nice thing I think about having my materials online is you can go back through those materials if you need to. I had so many classes in school where I was frantically trying to scribble stuff down about slide decks on the screen overhead. Sometimes they wouldn't even give you the slides because they didn't want you to have them. And you're frantically trying to draw graphs and charts of something that somebody put up on a projector. And I like being able to go back through that. And you can do that too. If you need to go back through something, or you need to freeze frame or pause something to take notes. I just really like this. The fancy word is modality. Russ could tell you about those words. He studies that kind of stuff. He taught me that word. So.
Thank you so much, everyone. We had some great conversations, great questions, and thank you for those of you who joined us today. So this brings us to the end of our session. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
I'm waving, but you can't see it.
Yeah, hopefully next time we'll have your camera will work.
It will.